Good afternoon. We're here for another week of a little training, encouragement update. We're getting a lot of comments from these videos that we're sending out every week. And please encourage other volunteers who maybe haven't seen this to click on our YouTube page and watch the past videos that we've logged there. Today, we're going to just do a brief discussion, brief encouragement about volunteers needed. Now, I know that gets a lot of your attention because a lot of you are in classrooms where you don't have enough staff to take care of the kids that are there, or you have volunteer staff that are there once a week and you don't see them again for 4 weeks and then someone else is new. Please know that our primary goal in preschool and children's ministry here at Bellevue is that we want to have consistent teachers in every classroom from birth all the way up to 3rd grade. Now, why do we think that consistent leadership is important in the classroom? Because that's what's best for the child. Children need consistency. And how can we be expected to teach the next generation about a consistent God if they never see consistency in their classroom at church? So I'm encouraging you today to do a couple of things. One is to make this a matter of prayer. I had a conversation last Sunday afternoon with one of our volunteers, and she said, I just didn't realize the scope of the many volunteers that we deal with. And I'm committing to pray once a week for volunteers. I'm asking you to commit to pray. I believe that when we take our concerns to the Lord, He is honored, He's glorified, and He listens, and then He'll answer our prayers. My wife and I have made a commitment to pray that at the preschool and children's ministry here at Bellevue is no longer asking for volunteers, that there are people waiting in line to serve. And I'm convinced that He's going to answer our prayer. With that in mind, I want to point out a couple of things. Who can volunteer? Our standard is that to serve as a consistent volunteer in a classroom here at Bellevue, you need to be above the age of 18. Well, some of you are saying, well, I've got a teenager serving in my room. I've got a 13-year-old or a 15-year-old. That's fine. We have talked with those students. They have gone through the screening process, just like you have. And we feel that it's okay to put them in a classroom with another trained group of adult volunteers. So some of you may have a teen in your class. Please encourage them. Please show them how to teach, because look at it this way. One day, they'll take your place as a permanent teacher. So who can volunteer? Yes, teenagers. We also want qualified, background checked adults. So what does that mean is that they need to be a church member, they need to be involved in the ministry and believe the way we believe. They also need to go through the process of filling out the CVA form. Those things are so important. We learn a lot here in our office about the volunteers that are applying. And I would say probably 95% of the people who fill out a CVA form are placed in a classroom in the next 2 months. Occasionally we have those situations where we just don't feel that right now is the best time. But 95% of the time they're placed in those rooms. So please remember that all of the volunteers that are serving in our classroom have a CVA on file. We've done that background check. We've gone through that interview process, and we trust that they are well capable to help you and I take care of preschoolers, bed babies on up to 3rd grade. Every month, I and Jason Pyron, our Next Gen minister, he and I lead one of our 401 serve classes. It's called 401, and it talks about service. So we're immediately looking at those volunteers that are coming in on a monthly basis that are joining our church. We're talking about the opportunities that you have available in your classroom. We're getting their CVAs filled out, and if they are interested in either preschool or children's ministry, we're trying to get them placed. How many? As we went into promotion this past fall, we needed 147 full-time positions. I wish I could tell you that we filled every one of those. I can't. We filled about 50. We're still short about 90. So we are right now looking for 90 adult volunteers that are not willing to serve once a month, but that are willing to serve Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. because preschoolers and children need that kind of a commitment. When? I'm glad to tell you that at 8 o'clock, we don't have any options. Those classes are full. We don't need any more volunteers at 8 o'clock. 9:20, I would say about 85% of our classes are full, with the exception of our younger preschool hallway. So if you're interested in serving in younger preschool, or more importantly, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about if you know someone that's interested. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But our 11 o'clock hour, guys, is rapidly becoming the front door to Bellevue. We are seeing a major shift in the people that are coming in our doors at 11 o'clock, but at the same time, we're not seeing the aggression to serve at 11 o'clock. So I'm asking you to diligently pray and seek the Lord's face that He sends to us laborers that are ready to go into the classroom at 11 o'clock to help with the kids. Guys, just last Sunday, we had classes in our children's ministry area that had 18 to 22 kids in there with 2 adults. We really need 4 adults in that size of a classroom. There is a major need at the 11 o'clock hour here at Bellevue, and I'm asking you to make that a matter of prayer. I want to show you something. In order to enlist workers, we use our influence. As your preschool and children's minister, I have a level of influence of people that are around me, relationships that I've built with my wife and I over the last 2.5 years in serving on your staff. But statistically, that area of influence only influences about 100 to 125 people. That's about all the people that they say our brain can comprehend at a time. Now, there are some exceptions, of course, but let's say we're all normal, and I can influence about 120 to 125 people. When we partner you with that same area of influence, you have a different group that you influence. Again, about 100 to 125 people. Well, if we looked at both of those numbers, if I can influence 125 and you as a church member can influence 125, and we combine that, our efforts, what is that? That's 250 folks that you and I have access to in this church who need to be contacted and encouraged to serve in ministry. A lot of those people are already serving in other areas of our church. We don't want them. I'm not interested in going after choir members. I'm not interested in going after adult life group leaders, or people that are serving in our parking lot ministry, or people that are serving in our Next Gen ministry. I want those people that are sitting on the pew beside you on Sunday morning that aren't serving anywhere, that you have a relationship with, and nobody's ever asked them. See, your area of influence is very different than my area of influence. So I'm encouraging you this week to not only ask for God's leadership to point people out to you that you need to talk to, but also that you'll go the next step and say, look, this is a great opportunity that you have to impact the next generation for Christ. Guys, I learned how to serve preschoolers and children from watching the adults in my church, including my mom and dad, who diligently and consistently served Sunday morning, Sunday night, and sometimes even on Wednesday night. That's the pattern that I learned. That's not the pattern that we're teaching today, but I'm telling you, your influence can really make an impact on someone else's life. So find those people and go after them.